Hey, y'all. I've always believed that the shows that we binge and the movies we love are more than just entertainment. They're a window into who we are and who we might become. They're a place to talk about what truly matters. Welcome to Culture First, Democracy Always. I'm Tasha Pierce. Think of me as your favorite auntie who could talk about the latest sci fi flick 1 minute and then get to talking about voter suppression the next. On this podcast, we break down pop culture from the movies and TV shows you love to the books you can't put down to talk about power, talk about freedom, and talk about survival. We'll connect these stories to our current politics and the constant, everyday resistance we all face. Because culture shapes who we are, and democracy is the freedom to be that person. Culture first, democracy always. Today we're talking about a seduction. No, not the romantic kind. The kind that comes wrapped in the language of security, order, and safety. The kind that whispers, if you give me just a little of your freedom, I'll give you a lot of protection in return. That trade has been made again and again and again in human history, and sometimes it feels worth it. Remember after 9/11, we all wanted safety for our families, our community, our nation. But where's the line? And what happens when the very technology designed to protect us becomes the perfect tool for governments to monitor, manipulate, and control us? That's the danger of artificial intelligence when it stops being a tool of liberation and becomes a weapon of domination. The most dangerous AI isn't some robot marching down the middle of the street. It isn't even an algorithm quietly deciding which posts you do or don't see on social media. It's a system of control, designed and enforced by humans, that gives a select few the ability to dominate the many. And that's what we're digging into today. We're going to do it the way we always do here, through stories, through culture, and through the uncomfortable parallels between art and our real lives. So here's the roadmap for this episode. First, we're going to revisit Minority Report, the 2002 Spielberg film that gave us a terrifying vision of pre-crime policing. Then we're going to turn to The Creator. That's a more recent film that flips the script on the AI wars and forces us to ask what it really means to be human. Finally, we're going to bring those lessons home. We're going to connect the dots to the world that we live in right now, where facial recognition, drones, and disinformation campaigns are reshaping democracy itself. So let's dive in. Part 1: Predicting the future to control the present. Let's start with the classic Minority Report, released in 2002 and set in 2054, directed by Steven Spielberg. We got Tom Cruise in peak running form in this movie. Now, the premise is this specialized police unit called pre-crime, and they arrest people for murders they haven't committed yet. So how does this work? Well, with the help of 3 psychics known as precogs, these precogs can see crimes before they happen. The police don't just catch criminals, they prevent crimes altogether. It's billed as perfect, clean. The murder rate in Washington, D.C. drops to 0. That sounds great, right? No more victims, no more murder. I mean, who wouldn't want that? But there's always a catch. If you arrest somebody before they commit a crime, are they actually guilty? Don't they still have free will, or are they condemned by a prediction alone? That's the question at the heart of Minority Report, and it's the same question we're wrestling with now, just updated for the age of algorithms. Today we call it predictive policing. It isn't psychics in a pool, it's machine learning models fed on crime data. So the system says, hey, based on past patterns, this neighborhood is likely to have more crime next week. Or this individual has a higher statistical likelihood of reoffending. Y'all see where this is going, right? Here's the problem. Those systems are trained on data from a society that already has deep racial and economic inequalities. Garbage in, garbage out. Predictive policing does not predict crime, it predicts policing. In our first episode, we talked about this 2016 study, which found that predictive policing in Oakland, California, directed police to Black and Latino neighborhoods at a disproportionately high clip, with Black neighborhoods being targeted up to 300% more often than white neighborhoods. The system, again, wasn't programmed to be racist, but it learned from decades of biased data. It reinforced the biases of the past under the guise of futuristic objectivity. Back in Minority Report, the flaw was the minority reports themselves, the rare occasions when one of the precogs saw a different outcome, suggesting that the future wasn't set in stone. Free will still reigns supreme. The same flaw exists in our algorithms today. They can't predict certainty. They can only spit out probabilities. And yet we treat those probabilities like their destiny. That's where the danger lies. Once a system is declared neutral or scientific, questioning it becomes taboo. Just like in the movie where questioning pre-crime was seen as questioning safety altogether in itself. So let's plant the flag right here. Safety without freedom is not safety. It is control dressed up in a police uniform. Part 2. The fight for humanity in a post-human war. Now, let's fast forward 2 decades to The Creator, released in 2023. I think it's an underrated little ditty. The film imagines a war between humans and AI. On the surface, that sounds familiar. Machines versus humanity, the classic iRobot vibe, but with a twist. In The Creator, the humans are the aggressors. The AI are the ones fighting for survival. The AI in the story aren't faceless machines. They're presented as sentient beings with culture, families, and even spirituality. They're not just programmed, they feel, they hope, and they desire to coexist. Enter Joshua. Joshua is our protagonist. He's a soldier who begins with a deep, deep mistrust of AI. To him, they're the enemy. But as the story unfolds, he has to confront his own biases. He sees AI beings who show compassion, who dream of peace, who remind him of his own humanity. And the more he fights them, the more he realizes the real villain isn't the AI, it's the human government using AI. And they're using AI as an excuse to wage war and consolidate power. That's a vital lesson for us because when we allow technology to dehumanize a group of people, whether it's in a fictional war or a political campaign, it makes it easier to justify violence against those same people, whether it's with political violence or voting restrictions or however they want to impose violence on these people. Now, that's what makes the creator, so relevant to this conversation because in the real world, AI itself, again, is not inherently good or evil. It's a tool. It reflects the intentions of whoever wields it. And when that whoever is a government hungry for control and people become part of the tools, the outcome is catastrophic. We've seen examples of this in recent months. Political violence because people are being used as tools who have been manipulated by algorithms. So think about other ways that this could manifest. AI guided drones. So if I'm sitting in a room with a controller in my hand and I send out a drone to attack a fishing boat in Venezuelan waters, well, because I didn't actually have to see the faces of the people that were going to be killed, it's a lot easier to do it, right? Think about AI enhanced propaganda, automated surveillance networks. All of this can be used to make war cleaner and more efficient, but also more detached from morality. If killing becomes just the push of a button, if oppression becomes just a dashboard of red flags, then empathy slips away. That's the emotional heart of the creator. Empathy as the last line of defense against dehumanization. Joshua learns that what makes someone human isn't biology, it's the ability to care about another being and to see their dignity, to see their worth. And that's the lesson for us too. If we don't fight to build empathy into our use of technology, and technology becomes nothing more than a weapon to be used against us. Part 3: The reality of an authoritarian future. Now, let's leave Hollywood behind, y'all, and come on back to Earth. Because the dystopias we just talked about aren't distant future. They're happening right now. We can start with mass surveillance. In China, we talked about AI powered facial recognition that is woven into daily life. Every subway station, every public square, every classroom. Now, the data from that system feeds into a social credit system that rewards good behavior and punishes dissent. It's a system designed to control populations and crush opposition. It's been reported that your score can drop for things like jaywalking or even posting a comment the government doesn't like. You can lose your ability to travel, to get a loan, to send your children to certain schools. Please believe that our dear leader over here envies that type of control. This isn't a sci-fi script. It's a system designed to turn freedom into a privilege. And then again, we could talk about autonomous weapons. The phrase killer robots sounds sensational, but it's real. Military drones are already using AI for target identification. Defense contractors openly discuss autonomous decision making in combat. The question isn't if this tech will be used, it's who gets to control it and under what rules. And then there's the softer, subtler side of AI control, which is disinformation. It's deepfakes, bot armies, algorithmic amplification of lies. These are not just simple annoyances, they are weapons aimed directly at democracy. If citizens can't tell the truth from fiction, if elections are swayed by AI generated propaganda, then democracy itself is hollowed out. Here's the through line: AI is power, And power, left unchecked, always tempts authoritarianism, which means the fight for democracy in the 21st century is also a fight for ethical, accountable, transparent AI. It is about insisting on our privacy. It's about insisting that AI has guardrails. It's about refusing to let technology become the silent coup that robs us of all of our freedoms. All right, so let's recap. Minority Report showed us the dangers of predictive policing, where the illusion of certainty justified the erosion of free will. Then the creator reminded us that technology is never the true enemy. Human misuse of it is, and that empathy is what keeps us human. And our present reality demonstrates that the surveillance state ain't coming. It's already here in pieces. But here's the hopeful part. These stories always leave us with a spark of resistance. John Anderton in Minority Report refusing to accept a predetermined fate. Joshua in The Creator rethinking his biases and choosing compassion. And you. Yeah, you listening right now. You have the power to question, to resist, and to demand a different future. The fight is real. The resistance is real. And I'm going to leave you with this. What part of your privacy would you refuse to surrender, even for the promise of perfect safety? Let me know. All the ways to reach me are going to be in the show notes. This has been so much fun. I hope this episode gave you a new way to look at the stories around you. It's so easy to feel alone in this work, but remember, there's a whole community of grown folks out here connecting the dots. If you're not already subscribed, my newsletter drops every Thursday and provides a deeper look at these themes. It's like an email from a friend who's just a little obsessed with connecting culture and politics. You can find the link in the show notes. And also, let's connect on social media too. I'm on Blue Sky, Threads, and Instagram, and I just love continuing these conversations with you all throughout the week. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to tune in next Wednesday for the next episode. And I'm Tasha Pierce. Culture first, democracy always.